We look at those who fought to maintain the soul of humanity during the Industrial Revolution. While the social Darwinists were preaching that certain people had better genetic qualities than others, justifying child labor, racism, immigrant exploitation, low wages, and poor tenement conditions, the social gospel movement was taking hold in middle-class religious circles, challenging its members to know, how can I take loving my neighbor into the streets? Reverend Washington Gladden started the social gospel movement under the idea of encouraging those with more to aid those with less. Groups like the Salvation Army set up relief efforts to help the less fortunate, and the YMCA and YWCA established housing and social opportunities in the neighborhood. Members of the movement established schools, settlement homes, and hospitals. The Industrial Revolution also had a deep impact on the arts. The Romantic movement emphasized escape from the harsh realities of the industrial age, with an emphasis on imagination and emotion. The Romantics rebelled against the Enlightenment's push for logic and reason. Instead of looking for the human mind, they were looking for the human soul to define their art. Poets like Keats, Byron, and Wordsworth led a new writing movement. Romantic-era writers like Charlotte Bronte, Bram Stoker, and Edgar Allan Poe emphasized mysterious heroes, grim destinies, and glorifying the past. Architects brought back older styles to glorify the past, like Gothic. It's said that Romantic-era composers like Beethoven stirred the 1848 revolutions with their music of life, love, and death. Artists like Delacroix and Fuseli painted from hopes, fears, and dreams. After the 1848 revolutions, this movement was mostly moved out by the Realists, who were artists and writers who presented the industrial world as it was. Writers like Charles Dickens, Victor Hugo, Mark Twain, and Theodore Dreiser moved into realism to write about poverty, the slums, crime, hunger, and the negative effects of the wealth gap that came from urbanization. Artists like Gustave Courbet and Millet shocked the upper class by painting ordinary people at work. The photography of Matthew Brady and Jacob Riis showed war and poverty in real terms, and in opera, composers like Puccini worked within a realist movement known as Verismo. By the end of the 1800s, the world would see the rise of the Impressionists like Monet and Degas, who painted to capture first impressions of how light and time impacted an object or people, mixing paint and light sources. They combined Romanticism with realism. Naturalism also became popular as more artists and thinkers like Vaughan Olmsted pushed for open spaces among the crowded urban world to give city dwellers fresh air.